Good evening, everyone. It's Thursday, August 4th, 2016. I'm Kevin Vacna.
And I'm Ashley Blown. Welcome to the Local Live.
There's a new appeal to Larchmont construction moratorium.
Larchmont Badgers' Cody Miller prepares a swim for the Golden Rio.
A legal battle may be on Playland's horizon as county and city officials consider facing off.
Money is coming to Mamaroneck schools for technology upgrades.
There's a new Common Core proposal in Westchester. This and other trending news in our In the Media segment.
And this week, Sedona Tap House is in the spotlight.
We have a double roundtable coming up. First, we'll learn more about At Home on the Sound, a local nonprofit that helps our senior citizens.
And second, two Mamaroneck High School students will be here in the studio sharing their experiences at the Democratic National Convention. So stay tuned to take part in our live discussion.
Tell us what you think. In person, over the phone, online. Watch and hear yourself on TV. You tell us, we air it. This is the Local Live.
The homeowners of 3 Douglas Lane appealed the Larchmont residential area development moratorium in a special meeting this past Monday. The homeowner stated that his property at 3 Douglas Lane was purchased over 2 years ago with the intention of replacing the structure due to its poor condition. Their appeal is based on the extension of the moratorium, the deteriorating condition of the house, and winter approaching.
Because the homeowners do not plan to subdivide the property, a planning consultant recommended that the approval of the appeal would not violate the moratorium's intent. The Committee to Preserve Larchmont also had no objections to the appeal.
The board stated it was their belief that the homeowners illustrated hardship due to the poor condition of the structure and reached a consensus to grant the homeowners' appeal. The final decision with documentation will be presented at the next board meeting on August 8th.
Larchmont's Badger Swim Club member Cody Miller will compete for Team USA at the Olympics in Rio. We spoke to Badger assistant coach Dominic Galimi, who said Cody's 100-meter breaststroke in 59 seconds makes him one of the top 5 in the world. The Badger Swim Club has had its fair share of Olympians from this area and are incredibly happy for Miller. The proud coach added that Cody is an inspiration for younger swimmers and the whole community.
Make sure to catch him on Saturday, August 6th, beginning at 2 p.m. in the men's 100-meter breaststroke preliminaries and on Sunday, August 7th for the finals. You can follow Badger Swim Club's Facebook page, show your support, and find the latest on Cody Miller.
A legal battle may be looming over Playland as county and city officials prepare to square off. According to the Rye City Review, the city is claiming that it should be lead agency for the next round of the county-owned amusement park's upcoming projects. Rye Mayor Joe Sack accuses county of failing to follow the law when it declared itself lead agency in May. Sack threatened to file an Article 78 lawsuit if the county did not respond to the city's request to be included in the decision-making process by July 28th. Representatives for County Executive Rob Astorino responded, disputing the city's claims and calling for continued county control over parks like Playland. They also stated that the city of Rye is welcome to be part of the ongoing Playland discussion. This history of struggle between the city of Rye and Westchester County dates back to 2014 when the two last butted heads over a now scrapped project to construct a field house on the park's property. Now, Mayor Sack continues this potential lawsuit as an attempt to include the city's interest in the ongoing discussion.
Mamaroneck Union Free School District is one of 30 smart school investment plans chosen to receive a part of New York State's $2 billion Smart Schools Bond Act. The act was passed in 2014 to help finance educational technology and infrastructure, providing students access to the latest technology and connectivity needed to succeed and compete in the world. Mamaroneck School will receive a little over $530,000 that will go directly for school connectivity. Governor Cuomo stated in his press release that through the Smart School Bond Act, he is ensuring that all New York students will have access to high-speed internet and new technology, regardless of the zip code.
Here's Alexandria Garcia in what's trending in the media.
A rally outside Westchester County Center was held on July 29th by Senate candidate Julie Killian and candidate for Congress Phil Oliva, urging families and homeowners to take action against a federal education regulation. Proposed by the U.S. Department of Education, the regulation will label most Westchester public schools as needing improvement for schools where 5% of students or more opt out of Common Core testing. To know more details about this story, please visit the Rise City Review online. The Swim Across America events are not only underway across the country, but in Larchmont and Eastchester. Oriental Beach Club in Mamaroneck raised $45,000. The co-owner of the Pulpatina restaurants, Kyle and Saria, will donate 10% of the restaurant proceeds on the days before the local swims. For more information about the Swim Across America events, please visit theloopny.com. Many local businesses, including the Voracious Reader in Larchmont, were celebrating the release of Harry Potter and the Cursed Child, the latest installment in the series that was co-written by J.K. Rowling, dramatist Jack Thorne, and director John Tiffany, which is currently running in London as a two-part play. It was released at midnight on Saturday, July 30th, and folks stayed up late to purchase the book and celebrate with themed snacks such as butterbeer and cake. For more details or pictures of the events, please visit the Daily Voice Mamaroneck. According to lowhead.com, 5 ice cream shops have been listed as having outstanding gelato, surf ice cream, and frozen yogurt. One of the top 5 listed is Bona Bona Ice Cream, located right here in Larchmont. You'll see the Bona Bona ice cream truck at parties or special events all across Westchester, or you can purchase it at the Larchmont Farmers Market on Saturdays. With a drug surge in the city of Rye, the police department has taken action and established an anonymous crime tip program to prevent future crimes in the area. Tipsters can also send text messages through a link to the department's website or Facebook page. For more information on the program, please visit Rise City Review. From the internet to you, I'm Alexandria Garcia with In the Media.
Up next, we have our local trivia question, and still to come, our double roundtable. Stay tuned.
Good evening. You think it won't happen to you, but if you're lucky, it does. You get older and even old. Some people equate retirement with a move to the Sun Belt, whether Florida or Arizona or the like, and yet others dream of travel, spending time with family, and particularly grandchildren. You can also, though, consider staying at home on the Sound. I'm Maura Carlin.
And I'm Mike Witch, and At Home on the Sound is a local organization for aging in place in Larchmont and Mamaroneck. Our guests will explain. Joining us are Elaine Weingarten and Janet O'Connell, the director and president of At Home on the Sound.
And as always, we want to hear from you. Comments, questions, it's your chance to participate. You can call, email, or tweet. The contact information's on your screen. And thank you for being here. But let's start with, what is At Home on the Sound?
Well, there's been a nationwide movement in the last few years called Aging in Place, the term you used. We're enabling people to stay in the homes in the areas where they live. And so we try to offer an alternative to, to the Sun Belt or to an old-fashioned, what we think of today as an old-fashioned nursing home, or a continuing care facility, one where you move from an apartment perhaps to more assisted living to perhaps ultimately a nursing home.
But I remember reading that some people move because it's just too expensive in this area.
Well, that is an issue.
But you don't provide any money for that.
We do not. In fact, we do charge our members a fee.
I will say, in all fairness, so many of our members have lived here 40, 50 years, so they really want to stay in this community. They don't have any reason to leave this community. And it's very expensive to go into assisted living facilities. So yes, to some degree, you've paid off your mortgage, and even though the taxes in Westchester are high, it's still less expensive to stay in your own home, even with supports, than sometimes to move.
There are some structural problems, there can be, in some of the homes. And is there, like stairs, for example. or having to shovel snow even. Is there a housing stock to help people here, to help people who might want to just downsize or have a easier?
It's an issue. I mean, that's something that that's beyond our mandate, but we then no real assisted living places directly in Larchmont or Mamaroneck. There's of course in Rye and New Rochelle and
White Plains, Eastchester, and they're popping up every day.
We have a question, so let me just get to that. What do senior citizens most need help in to stay?
Well, one of the things we provide, we provide a range of services and activities. I guess our number one thing that we provide our members is driving.
Transportation, doctor's appointments, physical therapy, food shopping, sometimes to do your hair, because it's whatever it's going to take to keep you happy and healthy. I think last year we provided over 3,500 rides to our members. So the numbers are astronomical, and it's all done by volunteers from this community. We only serve Mamaroneck, Larchmont, and Rhinebeck.
Just
Very
like us.
small
Are some of
community.
those ride services provided by the municipality as well? Do you
Not
supplement them, or are you?
Okay, so we provide for our members all of the rides that we provide them, but we always recommend what else is out in the community. And we actually work closely with the community center because the senior center has some available transportation for food shopping and other things. As long as people can still get on the vehicles and get off and wait the time, then it works for them. So we try to complement what they do and not interfere. But for the most part, most of our members really need that personal one-on-one to take them where they're going. And we also provide, for instance, one of the services we provide is sending someone who's been trained to go with you to the doctor. So if you have an important doctor appointment where you're considering surgery or considering or hearing news that you really need someone else to listen and a family member is not available, we'll actually have somebody go with you, write questions down, speak with you with the doctor, then write it all up and review the answers with you. So it's a very personal approach to doing things, and because we have a handful, maybe 60 drivers overall, it becomes very personal because they see the same members over and over again as they help them. It becomes a close relationship. And that's a nice piece. It's very different than calling a cab, besides the expense, which is totally different. It builds relationships. And I think our volunteers feel great about what they can do. Conversations that come up. You get to talk about your life, your children. It's just a nice time, a nice way to spend some time together.
Many of our members have lived in the community for decades, 30, 40, even. I drove a woman the other day. She's been here for 50 years. And it's a real thrill to, I've been here, I thought, a long time too, but no, obviously not anywhere near that long.
Who is at home in the Sound for?
Our membership requirement are very modest. You have to be 60 or over. I would say most of our people don't usually join until they're in their 70s. And 70s, 80s, we even have a few people in their 90s.
More and more in the 90s. We have a group that's 80 plus. You cannot be part of that club unless you're at least 80 years old.
And that's what's exciting about At Home on the Sound is a lot of our programming and clubs have been generated by our members. So the 80s plus, for instance, was one that some of our members said, we have special needs and special topics, and they created their own program, or a club.
It sounds like, and correct me if I'm wrong, that even adult children can use it to have somebody help their parents. Like I could hear it with the doctor's appointment if you can't make it.
And a lot today, so many children, live far away. They don't live close by, or they work full time and they can't go to the doctor's appointments. But they call our office. They make arrangements. We work with the families. We're a great resource, not only for our members. If you call and you're anybody, and I can answer a question or point you in the right direction. There are a lot of resources here in this community, surprising, and I'm learning about them each and every day to help you move, to help you transition, to make a change, to deal with your taxes, to deal with, we do some workshops. So we do Medicare rights, for instance, and once a year we talk about Medicare rights. It's such a complicated type of topic. But there are resources here at the library. There are other places you can go. So we'll share all the resources that we have to help you deal with whatever the issues you're having at the moment.
Our volunteers range in age. So I think we have like a 21-year-old minimum. We don't.
Okay, that was actually a question that we have.
I saw that. So our we don't have we can't have high school students driving our seniors, but anyone who's a little bit older. And
23 for legal purposes, we're comfortable with because the Department of Motor Vehicles recommends over the age of 23.
Okay. Is there a
So we do that.
screening
yes.
Oh yeah,
and training?
For all of our volunteers, they have to come in, they have to meet with us, they have to fill out that much paperwork. It's hard to believe. Here it is, you want to be a volunteer, but you have to complete paperwork. We ask for 2 references, we follow up with those references, and we do have training sessions. We explain exactly what you need to do, how to do it. We have a huge handbook for our drivers so that they
But
can
it's not
always have it.
overwhelming. It's not. But we want our members to be safe. But
Yes,
it's
a
easy.
half an hour with us, and we're very friendly and warm. And we also do a lot of things for our volunteers. Not only could they participate in some of our programs, but we do social events just for our volunteers because you want to keep our volunteers. We want to keep them happy. A lot of support, a lot of phone support. They can call us. We can call them.
To be a member, do you have to be able-bodied? You know, like if
Yeah.
you're on a walker or
walkers are
Walker's
fine.
just not a wheelchair.
not a wheelchair?
We can't ask any volunteer to do anything that we would consider not safe. So a walker, a cane, we have people with some eyesight issues, let's just say hearing issues, but a wheelchair would be too difficult.
We get a lot of volunteers, to your point, are people whose parents are not living, they're not living near their parents, and I think they wish that someone's doing the same thing for their parents that they can provide to a neighbor.
So true.
You said that a lot of your members are in their 70s and 80s. What about the decade in between the 60s?
There are a lot of, that's
still
our
able
big
to get around?
hardcore volunteer.
So there are 2 ways that we can help with the 60-year-olds. One is about a year ago, we launched 2 tiers in terms of membership. So you can join just social membership. It's called an associate membership, and that's going to attract your 60s and 70s. You can participate in our clubs, our programs, just not our services. And then our full membership would be our services too. So a lot of people are opting, the 60s and 70s, early 70s are opting either be volunteers or be both. You can be an associate member and a volunteer.
I am.
Yes, so that's not unusual today. Be active, stay in your community, pass it forward in a sense, and also get something out of it.
And we have programs. We have a bi-monthly group that meets at the Nautilus Diner and for breakfast and talks about current events. Obviously, there's a lot to talk about right now. And then on the alternate weeks, we have wonderful programming with local authors or topics of interest to people, as well as these sort of smaller clubs like the one
Octogenarian Club.
Octogenarian
Yes,
Club.
our men's
We have
club,
a
our
French-speaking.
German club, Scrabble. I can go on and
I
on.
bet you don't have a TV production club.
We
though.
don't,
And
and maybe
we would
we should.
love to see a TV production club.
I think that's
here at
a wonderful
LMC-TV.
idea. Yes.
Especially with all of the local history
Yes.
that people could talk
Actually,
about.
there's some great
Amazing.
history.
Amazing
That's
history.
a terrific idea.
We are, though, out of time. So can you give us your website? So people who want to volunteer or may want to join or just learn some more
So
about
it's
it.
at homeonthesound.org, and it explains everything about what we do, but I'm happy to accept a call at any time and to meet with people just to talk about what their interests are. We try to match your interest with whatever the volunteer service is going to be. It has to be rewarding.
Thank you very much
Thank
for
you.
joining
That's
us.
fun.
Yes, and don't go anywhere now. Our In the Spotlight segment is up next, featuring the delicious Sedona Tap House. And after that, our bonus roundtable.
Hey guys, you're watching the Local Live. Stay tuned. Yeah.
Looking for a place where the food will have your taste buds exploding? Today, it's all about the Sedona Tap House experience. With over 30 years in the restaurant industry, owner Ron Duckstein jumped at the chance to open Sedona Tap House right here in Mamaroneck. He tells us why this location was so perfect for his restaurant.
I've actually been around here about 36 years, and 36 years ago I was a young manager in training at the ground round here. I was only here for 6 or 7 weeks. Actually met my wife here. I know the area, I know the location. She went to Mamaroneck High School, lived in Larchmont. So I know the area extremely well. I knew the site for a long time, and I really thought it would do really well.
Sedona Tap House is not only known for their tasty foods, but also their large selection of beers and wines.
Here we have over 50 rotating taps. What that means is every time something goes, we replace it with something new. So it keeps like the list very fresh, very new. So every time you come in, even if you came in 3 times a week, you have an opportunity to find something new on the draft list that you didn't try before. The bottles, we're about $250, around $300 right now. Looking to go up to $500 just to have a good variety, something for everybody. We don't want to have a situation where you come in and you're looking for something and we can't provide you at least with something right in the neighborhood of what you're looking for.
All our food is made from scratch every single day. We have great pastas, we have great steaks, fish items. And at Sedona Tap House, you can come here and get a small bite for our small plates, or you can get a full entree. We have a broad menu offering anything from tacos to pastas to steaks. So I think we're good for almost everyone. On Monday, we have our Steak After Charity. On Wednesday, it's Wine Down Wednesday. All our bottles of wine are half price all day long. And in addition to that, we have a complimentary wine tasting from 5:30 to 7:30. We're very happy to be here. We looked at this site for a long time. I'm just going to invite the entire community out here. We'd love to see you, love to have you try our entrees, our beers, and get to know us, and we'll get to know you. I think you'll be very happy with your experience here.
There's so much beer available here at Sedona that I'm going to have my friend Ron help pick one out for me.
Well, you say you like fruity beers, so we gave you a UFO Big Squeeze, got a little grapefruit flavor in there, but we have flavors for everyone, non-flavored, regular, traditional, whatever they're looking for.
Perfect.
Cheers.
Cheers! For the Local Live, I'm Kat Galliano.
You're watching The Local Live,
the only news show on Larchmont and Mamaroneck on LMC-TV.
Yeah, and it's me. Welcome back to our bonus roundtable. 2 students and 2 teachers took a trip to Philadelphia, and it wasn't to see the Liberty Bell. It was to report on the 2016 Democratic Party convention. They're here tonight to share their stories. I'm Maura Carlin.
And I'm Michael Witch. And as always, we want to hear from you. You can call us, email, or tweet. The contact information is on your screen.
We're joined by Mamaroneck High School AP U.S. Government and Politics teacher Joe Liberti and 2 rising seniors in that class, Julia Steinberg and Sam Mollin. Thank you so much for being here. I have to say, one of the things that the journalists here at the Local Live really want to know is, how are you able to get in to cover the convention?
Well, initially, I came up with the idea that it'd be great if we could take some students down to the Democratic Convention, given how close it was. So a couple months ago, I started sort of searching around, figuring out how can we get inside. We thought maybe as volunteers we could do it. Then I put in for press credentials. None of those worked out.
Right.
And then finally I got an email maybe like 2.5 weeks before the convention saying, we have a program for youth media. We'll be able to get you some press credentials through that. I was like, great. So at that point, I knew we were inside, and that's all that matters.
So I want to know what you took away from this. Julia, why don't you start us out?
Well, first of all, my expectation was honestly the exact same as the reality. Watching the DNC on television in the past, you could feel the energy from the screen. You could feel the same exact energy from the RNC, frankly. And when I got there, it was just so empowering and liberating, seeing so many powerful people up there expressing what they believed and coming so far from that. And I think especially as a woman, taking away that you can rise up in power, you can take the reins and do anything you want, and you just have to work hard and you have to get there. I think that was my biggest takeaway, not only because Hillary Clinton is the nominee, but from all the other women that were on stage.
What about you, Sam?
So one thing I took away is that, like, when you have these big political conventions, there's a whole, like, entire other thing going on behind the scenes, because the whole journalism aspect of the convention is insane. Like, there were 2 floors of journalism suites where, like, tons of journalism companies were going around. They were filming everything behind the scenes, and we got to see how all that worked, and that was really cool.
And you were actually the subjects of journalism from the Journal News, I think, right? Reporting this?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There's a video on, is it on YouTube or it's on lowhud.com?
Correct.
Yeah.
So, and it wasn't just LowHUD. CBS Radio also did 2 little pieces on Sam and Julia. So they were featured in multiple places.
Did you hear any or see anything at the convention that really surprised you?
I think on the first night, because we were there for Tuesday, on Monday night you could just hear the screams of Bernie Sanders supporters and delegates. And being there for roll call, especially after she was announced, you just saw a lot of protesters walking out enraged of what just happened. So I think one thing that was especially surprising was seeing people so vocal about it, even though it was at the DNC. And one thing for me that was particularly striking was someone I actually interviewed, and he was a delegate from California. He was walking around with a sign, not talking, and it said Hillary for fear. So I went up and talked to him, and I said, why do you think that? Will you be voting for her in November? What can she do? And he was really articulate and expressed that the Bernie Sanders movement wasn't so much about the election, so much about the movement that you can make change and to fight for what you believe and to say what you feel. And I thought that was really incredible.
So you were down there as a journalist, not as a delegate. And did you report on what you found? Were you posting things?
Yeah, so we set up our Twitter account as well as our Instagram account. Those are the two things we're going to try to use this time around. And we'd done that in New Hampshire. And so we basically just sort of retooled those and turned them into, instead of it being MAMK NH16, just retooled it now, it's MAMK Prez 16. So we use those formats to help push out the pieces that they're putting together, the video pieces and other things.
And people can still see that now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you were there Monday and Tuesday?
We were there just for Tuesday.
Just for
Tuesday
Tuesday.
inside, and then Wednesday we spent the morning outside, sort of checking out the scene from the streets.
Forgive me, I don't remember. Did Bernie Sanders speak on Tuesday? Were you there for that?
Monday.
He spoke on Monday,
So we
so
saw
this
Bill
was
Clinton.
post his speech.
Right. Bill Clinton was the big speaker on Tuesday.
Okay. Was there, there's been lots of mainstream news coverage, obviously there's lots of stories. Was there anything that you saw or heard or learned that you didn't think was reported or wasn't reported accurately? You look
I can't think of anything.
Well, I think, just I'll jump in while you're thinking. For me, the passion and commitment of some of the Bernie supporters was it was impressive. I have not seen that type of passion and loyalty to sort of a greater movement since maybe 2012 when I was in New Hampshire and was speaking with the Ron Paul supporters. These people really believe in something more than the candidate. There's a larger movement. I was surprised. I knew there was some discontent, but as Julia was saying with the interview, they're thinking this is a much larger movement. And its roots, you can trace it back to Occupy Wall Street, perhaps even further back. So to me, that was definitely something I think that was at least underreported.
And do you think they're going to vote for Hillary? Did you get a sense?
Well,
not based on you guys.
All the people who were at the convention for Bernie, they were all delegates. They all chose to run to become delegates for Bernie Sanders. So these were the most loyal supporters of him that were there. So everybody who came to protest Hillary to the convention and everybody who came as a delegate to the convention for Bernie probably won't vote for Hillary. But I think that.
But do you think they'll vote for Donald Trump?
Hopefully not.
We have a question, so let me get to that one. Recently, at a press conference, Donald Trump told NBC Katie Tur, a reporter, to be quiet when she asked a question. If it had been you instead of Katie, how would you have responded?
Well, similar to that, when we were on the media floor, we met Jorge Ramos, who was actually kicked out of a press conference with Donald Trump because he kept on asking tough questions. So I'm not sure so much how I would respond, but more how I would react for myself, just because reporting is about getting to the bottom of the things, and if you want a substantive interview, the presidential candidate should be able to answer that. And I think a lot of this dancing around and semantics that I think have been expressed in this election, I think it'd be a little bit unheard of for our commander-in-chief to say, be quiet.
But a candidate did.
Yeah, I think it's almost ironic that Donald Trump would tell a reporter to be quiet because earlier in the elections, he was almost fueled by all the free media coverage and the extensive media coverage that he was getting, and I think that helped him a lot. And now later in the election, when the spotlights are really turning on him and the stakes are higher, he's refusing questions. And not that he wasn't refusing questions before, but I think it's just like a further example of him being unable to handle the press when it's against him.
Well,
sometimes, not all the time.
How much, having been there, having seen this, how much of a role do you think the press is going to continue to play in this year's election?
Well, I think it'll continue to play a big role. Like, I actually interviewed Jorge Ramos, and one thing he said was that people were beginning to, well, the media was beginning to have more influence in the political process because people were beginning to trust the media more than they were trusting the candidates. So I think, like, as it goes on, the media will have an important role. Sometimes they have too much of an important role. The media shouldn't have all the influence in an election, but they'll definitely have influence.
I also think the change in the whole change in the landscape, you know, within media, in part has also made things more exciting. I was talking to the CEO of the CBS Radio Corporation, and he was saying that social media definitely has created much more energy at the conventions because people can sort of communicate without sort of that intermediary.
In real time, and it's personal.
Totally, and so I think there's definitely a sort of democratizing effect that's taken place. But I think the reality is that media, the press, has an important role to play, and it will continue to play an important role. But it's not this. It's not. This is not 1968. It's 1976. It is not the same. Like they're not the gatekeepers anymore. But there's no doubt that Fox, CNN, ABC, CBS, they'll still play an important role in shaping, you know, the message.
Where do you guys get your news from? Social media or mainstream media?
Well, it's a little bit of both. Like, I get news from Twitter sometimes. I get news from Politico. I get news from the Wall Street Journal and the New York Times, which I usually read every morning when I have enough time. And I also get it from, like, social media sites like Reddit, which isn't always the most reliable. And rarely I get news from Facebook also because people share articles and they come up.
And you, Julia?
Yeah, similarly so. I think I like to read the newspaper, magazines. I try to get it from all mediums possible because I think that's how you can stay the most informed.
Any of you read print? No. Okay, we have another question. After all the journalists you encountered at the DNC, who were you most impressed with, or who most impressed you?
I think I don't know if I'd consider him a journalist, but speaking to Martin O'Malley, I think to me that was most impressive, especially because early in the election season, I think people kind of saw him as a footnote. It was Bernie Sanders and Hillary Clinton. Clinton was really established. Bernie Sanders was starting a movement. Talking to Governor O'Malley, that was really inspiring. He's done a lot of stuff in his career as mayor of Baltimore and governor of Maryland that I think has been overlooked, whether it's been lowering the crime rates, making healthcare more accessible, helping disenfranchised people get their vote out. So I think talking to him above anything was really great, seeing what he had to say.
And you, Sam?
Well, talking to Martin O'Malley was definitely interesting. I actually high-fived him, which was a pretty awkward high-five. It was fun while it lasted. I mean, going back to the most inspiring journalist, I really only saw two journalists, the Low-HUD guy and, oh, that's not true, the CBS people also. But I think Jorge Ramos was definitely the most inspiring because obviously he stood up to Trump. He's the head of a major news station, so, well, the anchor of a major news station, so I found that interesting.
I know we're running short on time, but I just wanted to ask you, this experience you had at the convention, is it going to affect the rest of your high school studies this year?
Well, I think it definitely will to an extent because in AP Government we're going to be talking about how the political process worked, and we saw like a major part of the political process in the convention, so I think having that background will make it better.
And Julia, you agree?
Absolutely. I've been interested in politics for a long time, so being able to get this firsthand experience of just a hub of really every powerful Democratic political figure was just incredible, and I think it definitely has given me the motivation and empowerment to take it to the next level.
Well, having been a political reporter, does it make you want to become a political reporter or change your college career plans?
Absolutely. I mean, starting when I was 9, I went to Congress with my mom and my family, and we advocated for the ABLE Act, and I've been to the Supreme Court, and I felt like all these levels were starting to build, so being able to go to the DNC, I feel like that was a cherry on top, and I said, this is what I'm born to do. I'm born to make change, I'm born to report it, and I'm born to influence other people.
And you, Sam?
Well,
let you have the last
I'm
word.
not really sure. I'm not really sure because this summer I've actually been doing an internship with a local state Senate campaign race, and that's given me a real insight into how local politics work, which is in some ways terrifying and in some ways interesting. And then the convention also showed me a real like journalistic side of politics. So I mean, it really depends. I'll see what happens in college. It'll be a surprise.
Well, we hope.
I'd just like to add, as we told our previous guests, if you want a platform for reporting, LMC-TV is available to you as a community member.
He's our pitch man.
Excellent.
I hope you enjoy the rest of your summer, and we thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you very much.
All right, yep, thanks.
Thank you, and don't go anywhere. We've got more of the Local Live coming up right now.
Anna is an adorable domestic black and white long-haired cat. She's house-trained, spayed, and up-to-date on all her vaccinations. Anna is currently living with her foster family and loves to cuddle. If you are looking for a cat that thoroughly enjoys being part of a family, this is your cat. For more information on Anna and other adorable pets, go to www.humanesocietyofwestchester.org.
And remember, if you'd like to keep us on air, support our program by checking out our website at www.lmctv.org and click the donate button in the upper right. We really appreciate any contribution.
We're always welcoming new interns and volunteers, so send your emails to thelocallive@lmctv.org and join us. We love hearing from you. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Kevin Vacna.
And I'm Ashley Balone. See you next week for another episode of The Local Live.
Oh, hello. Go. Slow. Whoa.
Can the local live give my pet ostrich the power of human speech?
What?